Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the FinTech Hunting Podcast. We have a phenomenal guest for you today. She's a leading mortgage technologist and thought leader. Please help me welcome to the show, Raveen Phifer, founder and CEO of She Mortgage Consultants. Raveen, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Michael. I feel like I should have walked out with a championship belt.
Well, it's an introduction that is well-deserved. I love everything that you're doing. You and I have worked on some projects together. You've been on some videos with me at conferences, and I just love your approach. So welcome to the show. And
Thank you.
as we dive in, first, let's what are some of the market conditions that you're seeing right now, right? I mean, people are talking about it. Are rates going to go down this week? Are they going to go lower? Have the rates already gone as low as they're going to go?
Yeah.
Give me some of your feel of what you're seeing in the marketplace.
Honestly, I'm seeing probably exactly what you guys are seeing, right? Well, all of us are seeing exactly what we're all seeing. I think the rates are probably going to stay where they are. Quite frankly, I think they're probably going to go up a little bit more, and then they're probably going to settle back down to where they are right now. So the lower sixes around that. I don't think there's going to be any drastic change at this point in time.
So we're coming into, we're in the third quarter. We're approaching the fourth quarter quickly. It's hard for me to say that. We're in the middle of September.
Yeah.
As lenders are now starting to look at their budgets for 2026, they're now starting to evaluate their technology.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the biggest things that they need to be aware of as they start analyzing their technology? Is it working, not working?
Well, Michael, I feel like that's really a loaded question, right? So there's so many things lenders need to take a look at when they're looking at technology. I'm going to jump back a little bit. I think a lot of lenders have this tendency where they look for products that work right now in that moment, when in reality, they need to be looking at products that will work now, later, and in the future, right? So as organizations are growing, things are changing rapidly, regulations are changing, compliance, even the borrower experience, right? So I'm going to speak from a borrower's perspective, right? So we're looking for things to move faster, quicker, cleaner, and easier, right? So there's so many things that lenders need to take a look at before they make the decision on any new technology and things like that they're starting to implement.
Well, as we start talking about technology and technology's role and the cost to originate a loan, where do you see are some of the biggest pain points that lenders are struggling with to deliver what those borrowers want? Like you just articulated, borrowers want it simple, they want it easy, they don't want any friction. What are some of those hurdles that lenders need to overcome to address that?
Status quo. People have a tendency to kind of stick to where they are because it's working at this moment in time. Again, it's working, and so they don't want to change it. Right. There may be few tweaks and turns that they may try to implement, but most of the time it's probably, I'm not gonna say probably, it is the status quo that they need to get over in order to give the borrowers exactly what they're looking for.
So as we start analyzing this, talk to me about She Mortgage Consultants. Mm-hmm. You and I have had some discussions. I love what you're doing, but for a lot of our listeners, maybe they don't know what it is that you're bringing to the market. I think you bring so much value. Share with us about She Mortgage Consultants.
Okay. So She Mortgage Consultants, basically what I do on my team, we basically go and have a conversation with the lenders, right? So we try to understand exactly what they're doing from their tech stack, and making sure, again, that they're utilizing technology that is working for them now, later, and in the future, right? And if those products don't work, then we try to figure out products that actually work, as far as the integrations goes, the borrower experience, right? So we're trying to make sure everything is flowing from point A to point B, right? In a very flow. How can I say this? A very clean way, very eased way to get from one point to the next. Again, just try to make sure that they're using technology that makes sense for what exactly they're doing.
So walk me through. A lender hires you to come in and kind of do that discovery and that analysis. Is that how it works? Or are you going in and working with the lender and then providing some possible solutions? Talk to me a little bit more in detail about that.
Yeah, so it really depends, right? So I have clients that are just wanting to say, "Hey, Raven, what product do you think works for us right now in this moment based on these things," right? But then there are other times I actually go in, I have a conversation with whomever's running the process, right? So typically it's the mortgage ops and, some of the C-suite guys, things like that, right? So I have a conversation with them and actually understand exactly what they're doing. Okay. So sometimes they're looking at LOS, sometimes they're looking at POS, sometimes they're looking at the appraisal platform, and sometimes they just want specific vendors that they want to utilize. So I have a conversation with them, right? And then I try to look at it from a cybersecurity architectural standpoint first, right? So we kind of go in and look at all of the pieces, making sure that this vendor who they're looking at or that they're utilizing is compliant in every aspect from a obviously compliance standpoint and from a cybersecurity standpoint. So making sure everything they're using is secure. Right. So
Yep.
first I look at that aspect. Okay. And then I try to look at all the pieces. So if you're coming to me and you're saying, Raven, I want my borrowers to be able to see, this piece, and this piece. Right. So we're looking at all these pieces that you guys are looking for. And then I find all of the products that actually does it. So I actually don't have a product. Right. So then I find all of the vendors and the lenders or the vendors that do exactly what you guys are looking for. We have then those conversations and making sure that you can actually do those things that you're asking for, making sure they're showing you, right? Because a lot of times the vendors, they say they can do one thing and it's probably on the roadmap. They probably can't do it right now, but if they're needing it right now, then we actually go in and make sure that those vendors can provide that for you. And then go through that process. I then give you all these deliverables for all these things you can kind of look at and take a visual perspective on, right? And you can decide from there whether or not you want certain products.
I love it. And so really what you're doing is helping them through that whole vetting process.
Yeah,
And
from start
one
to
of the,
implementation.
and one of the challenges is obviously there's pride of authorship. There's technologists that are already within the lending organization. And you've got to kind of show that you're coming alongside and adding bandwidth.
Yeah.
You're not competing with them. Like you said, you're not pushing one product or another. You're really trying to solve their pain points, what they're looking for, and then you're going to bring a slew of potential products that would meet those demands. I love that you're taking the approach of it's got to be secure.
Yep.
It's got to meet certain criteria. But a lot of lenders today don't have the time or the resources to
Correct.
do all of the proper vetting.
Yep, I think we actually talked about this a couple of weeks ago, right? We did discuss that. A lot of times lenders do not have those resources, the time, and the personnel to get some of those things done, and so that's kind of where I step in.
I love it. And as you're out there in the industry, being able to step in and do that is critical. So as we talk tech, where are you seeing AI and where does AI fit into these discussions? And are lenders looking for AI solutions? Are they still scared to embrace them? Give me kind of a better feel.
So, Michael, I think, now hear me out. I think that AI, it's a thing. Okay. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely a thing. But I think right now, AI is really a true buzzword. Hear me out. So a lot of the times when I'm speaking to some of these lenders, they say, I want AI. I don't think it's more so the question of do you want AI? It's more so what do you want? Because a lot of times they think the AI is probably something that a vendor is already doing. Okay. So it's more so of us, again, trying to understand exactly what that lender is looking for. And if they think that AI is, again, I'm going to reference this again, if they think it's a chat box or a VA, right? Some lender or vendors already do that, right? So if they want the, documentation to be implemented and placed in one area versus the other, again, vendors are already doing these things. So I really, truly feel like it's one of those things where you actually have to have a conversation with a lender in order to understand what they think AI is. Because again, they may not actually want AI. It's probably already done.
Interesting. And I love that approach of AI can't just be a buzzword, right? And it's not just a technology solution. The mindset has to be different. People have to embrace change. They have to rethink, how am I approaching underwriting, or how am I approaching, is the LO going to be more of a loan advisor and AI is doing some things in the background? And to your point, and I love of how you mention what are you trying to solve for instead of just saying, I want AI? Because
Yeah.
if they just say, I want AI, right? It's like saying, okay, I want a new LOS. Well,
Yeah.
why do you need a new LOS? Where are the
Yeah.
pain points? What are you trying to accomplish? And
Yep.
AI may do it. Machine learning may do it. Different automation that is already available may be able to accomplish what they're trying to do. So I love the approach of it's about discovery. It's about understanding before just trying to shove a square peg into a round hole to say you have AI.
Yeah. And I will say this, vendors don't get mad at me, but a lot of times vendors, they are taking that AI work and they're pretty much just repackaging again what they're already doing. And quite frankly, if you look at some of the systems, these lenders are asking for things that they probably already can do. They just hadn't started utilizing it. There's so much that goes along with all of these systems, all these platforms. You probably just have to turn it on. It's probably already accessible.
Well, and to your point, I think, AI, there's so many different definitions in people's mind of what AI is.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of clarity of what it isn't or what has been around. There's certain aspects of AI and machine learning that have been in the industry 15, 20 years.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So is it an automation that you're looking for and machine learning can do that already? Great. Or you could already use OCR and machine learning and accomplish some of those things. And then what I'm seeing though is there's now starting to be what I'll call more true AI in the way people are looking at it.
Okay.
From predictability. There's tools out there now that off of doing a call analysis on the first call can predict with almost 90% accuracy whether that loan will close or not.
Yep.
Okay.
I actually just watched the podcast. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just watched the podcast of that. There was a guy, he was talking specifically about that. The AI actually prompted the call and had the entire conversation for the LO. There was no interaction with the LO, and the AI actually had that complete conversation, and they did predict that accuracy. Yeah.
Yeah. And so part of it is we have to understand there's a shift taking place. And either we're going to lean in and be proactive with it and do it correctly from a data security and a data structured perspective and discover what are the needs. And then really look at what are those tools that are available that I can implement that are going to give me a competitive advantage that may level the playing field. And we're kind of in that, in some ways, super cool, exciting, environment of, wow, there's a lot of this new stuff coming out. And then the dangerous side of it of, is it just hype? Is it vaporware? Is it really in production? Is it working? And the hardest part is there's not a perfect way to vet it unless you use somebody like yourself and your company to say, let's actually vet these solutions. Let's vet these tools and find out what's real, what's not real, and does it actually solve for what you're trying to solve for?
Yeah, I think that's where we all kind of come in as a collective. We need to understand exactly what you're trying to solve for first before you jump in and say, I want AI, I want AI, I want AI, because you probably already have it and you probably already have access to it.
Yeah, and even if you don't have it, there's tools out there that as you vet them can say, this is actually going to accomplish what you need. And it may be a small little chat bot. It may be something that you're going to get some quick uplift without totally redesigning your company. But I think people have to start looking at, because like to your example of, the voice agent, the AI voice agent can start talking loan programs, can start making recommendations. We're not going to need as many people to do some of those tasks. So
I would like to say this one thing though. I think that, kind of going back to the AI thing, I think because the mortgage space is such a people-oriented industry, I feel like there's probably only so much we can do with AI without alleviating or without getting rid of that whole people aspect. Because I truly feel like in the mortgage space, you have to keep that aspect, that you cannot get rid of that. AI, it's great, but I think that there's some piece that has to stay human to human. right?
Right.
It has to stay there. So,
And I think where that shift is and where kind of that balancing act is, let's use that loan officer example.
mhm.
Then the loan officer, if they use AI to do a lot of that back office, the borrower is searching for loan programs and has a bunch of questions at midnight.
Yeah.
Well, the loan officer's not up at midnight answering
Yeah.
those questions, right?
Yep.
But if AI could answer a lot of those questions and get a meeting scheduled for that loan officer that next morning at 10 a.m., then the loan officer can humanize the whole experience,
Yep.
ease it. And I think that's where people are struggling to figure out what roles and tasks can AI take over,
Mhm.
what roles and tasks should never be delegated
Yep.
and replace a human. And where is that line
Where's
of
that
trying to make
balance?
it work? And if I had all the answers, if you had all the answers, we probably wouldn't be on this call.
Yep.
It's evolving in front of us, and I think that's what makes it exciting. But it's one of those where people have to do a little bit more due diligence. People
Yeah.
really have to understand, and that's true with any automation. We've got a few minutes left. You and I could talk for hours. I love the insights you share. Upcoming conferences. Will you be at upcoming conferences? How can people find out more about She Mortgage Consultants? How can they get a discovery set up? Talk to me a little bit more about that.
Sure. So the next conference I'll be attending is annual, so MBA annual. I will be there in Vegas this year
Yes.
again, right? So I'll be there in Vegas. And as far as, lenders wanting to touch base and reach out, they can either email me. I'm definitely here on LinkedIn, very active. And then they can even go to my website there. And there's an area where you can go in and have a contact us type of form. You can fill that out and me or my team will touch base with you.
I love it. For those of you that are listening, if you're trying to vet technology, if you want a third party to come in and say, hey, here's some of the things that you really need to look for, make sure that you reach out to Raven and her team. They're doing some incredible stuff. Raven, I can't wait to see you in Las Vegas for
same.
annual. We will definitely have to connect. And I can't thank you enough for being a guest on this episode
Thank you.
of the FinTech Hunting Podcast.
Thank you so much.